All right, it's time for that all-important mailbag for this week, and I'm interested to hear what you guys thought about Hell in a Cell and where we're going just a mere couple of weeks away from bringing fans live back in person on a weekly basis, and with all of the looming rumors about stars returning, major stars returning. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say this week. Of course, lots of emails to get through, voicemails. Let's get everything going right after this.
My name is Mike De Niro, and I am one-third of the New York City rap group, the Lords of Gotham. I am also the host of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast. The Wrestling DeLorean podcast is your one-stop shop for all the news and notes around the wrestling world. We talk about everything from WWE to AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, Ring of Honor, and beyond. But wait, there's more. We also go back in time and discuss all the events and moments that made us all fans. New episodes of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast drop Monday through Friday. Yes, 5 episodes a week, and you can find us wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. So what are you waiting for? Hop in the Wrestling DeLorean, strap in your seatbelt, become a passenger of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast, and enjoy the ride, because it is going to be one hell of a good time.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Well, it's that time for the mailbag. It's time to hear from all of you. It's time to give you guys a voice, as I say every single week. It's my favorite show to do because it's not just me talking to myself for 60 minutes or longer. And I do have great co-hosts, but certainly hearing from other voices that we don't normally hear from and our regulars are a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm actually recording this before Nostalgia. So if you are on the Apple Podcasts subscription or you're on Patreon, the Nostalgia show may be a little bit later than normal because I wanted to get the mailbag in before the Nostalgia show, just in case I fall asleep at my mic. That has actually happened before. In fact, on several occasions have I actually literally fallen asleep as I'm talking. And of course not because I don't care about what I'm talking about or care about this show. I have a 3-year-old and another one on the way, so that'll do it to you. You know, anybody that has kids can attest to that. I honestly don't even know how I find time to do this as it is. So anyway, guys, this is the time for you. This is your show. This is time to hear what you're thinking, and I can answer your questions and hear your rants, and it's going to be fun. So before we get there, though, I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this show. As you know, we did recently just hit 1 million subscribers, or I'm sorry, 1 million downloads. Subscribers, yeah, that'd be something else, right? No, not 1 million subscribers, 1 million downloads over this show's entirety. So I think it's a pretty cool milestone, and I did a quick little show on it, thanking all of you, and it's 1 million down, and many, many more to go. So thank you, and again, if you want an ad-free experience, please head over to Apple Podcasts. If you have iOS 14.6 or later, you can click that subscribe button and get an ad-free experience for all of the shows from a couple of weeks ago until now and until the future. So that's pretty cool. You get a free trial, and then it's just $2.99 a month. And you also can go to Patreon if you want to support the show that way. And you just for $1, you get everything ad-free, and different tiers get just different stuff. Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's get into the patrons who get priority placement here. And our first message comes in. This is from G-Man. And by the way, guys, I had a blast on the Discord server at Hell in a Cell. It was so much fun talking with all of you and just BSing and talking about real life, or in real time, what's going on. That was so much fun, and I'd encourage you to join Patreon, if nothing else, just for that. I mean, for $1 a month, you get to join us on the Discord server. Of course, a bunch of other benefits, but hey, it was a blast, I gotta say. So G-Man writes in, and he says, "Hey, Matt, so I really enjoyed Raw. for the first time in many, many, many months, it seems. Happy to see Ricochet get a win. He's already the one I want to see as the Money in the Bank winner, but I'm sure Vince would laugh at me if he heard me say something like that. Bobby and MVP giving facts to the New Day was great. Now with Drew out of the picture, who do you think can defeat the Almighty for the WWE Championship? Does Kofi have a shot at winning Money in the Bank? Okay, you have more, but I'll stop. I would say right now, Brock Lesnar is the guy to take it off of Bobby. I think that's the way to go. Or at least that's what they're thinking. Because I have no idea. When you look at that roster, as it's presently constituted on Monday Night Raw, with no shakeup, that's coming in a couple of months. But with no shakeup, there's nobody. Really, there's nobody. There's nobody up and coming, at least that I can see, that I go, oh man, that's going to be great when they get to that level. Drew has been worn out, wrung out, and used up in that position. Kofi Mania, they're trying to recreate, which is a damn joke, just like his character. I have no interest in Kofi Kingston. If they do it, I told you this podcast will explode. And I could see Kofi winning Money in the Bank, I guess. I mean, I haven't even really given it too much thought who could win it yet. You know, I just haven't gone there in my mind. But Kofi certainly could. I hope not. I really do. But as far as who's on there right now, nobody. I think it's Brock Lesnar or bust right now. Now, again, you can have guys shaken up from SmackDown and Raw, and everything could reset itself upon the draft. That's certainly going to do a nice job in making things feel fresh. And then you bring up some NXT talent, throw in some returning stars, and throw in the live crowd back, and you have the recipe for rising ratings and new matchups, no question. Nikki Cross is a superhero. Now, don't know about how I feel about this, sadly. It was cool to see her tag with Alexa again. Hopefully they'll tag team up again because I really like them as a team. Seeing Riddle chasing Miz with a scooter was funny as hell. I'm probably one of the few that is enjoying Eva Marie on Raw. I do hate what they're doing to Piper Niven, not giving her name. The name they gave her, like seriously, that's worse than Slapjack, Slapnuts, whatever his name was. And with the damn roll-ups, or enough with the damn roll-ups already. Okay, I'll stop there and then get to your final thought. Eva Marie. Yeah, here's the thing. I have no problem with Eva Marie, how she looks, even her presence on camera. She's got all the physical tools, so to speak. She does. At least she looks like she does. She looks the part. That's important. You should. But we have yet to see her in the ring do anything. I mean, you can only go so far with this character who just avoids getting in the ring, avoids anything. I mean, she did that with her Everything Red, as I said, and everyone knows, a few years ago. And she never actually competed. And they're doing the same thing here, except she's got Dewdrop with her, which is Piper Niven. Okay, I'm not getting it. I ranted about Dewdrop. What was it, 2 nights ago or last night on the Raw review show? But yeah, I mean, if you like it, great. I mean, I don't mind Eva Marie as a character. I don't like, if they try to sexualize her like they've done with a lot of the women. Yeah. Okay, and enough with the damn roll-ups already. I didn't mind with the Seth Rollins and Cesaro ending, but damn, did we literally see like 10 roll-ups in the last 2 nights? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And look, roll-ups are part of wrestling. Roll-ups can happen. Roll-ups should happen because they're quick, they're surprising, anybody can pull it off, and it only takes 3 seconds to hold their shoulders down and you win. The problem with that finish, number one, it's overused. Number two, you're supposed to tell me that a kick to the jaw, I've said this, but I'll say it again because it needs to be said multiple times. If a swift kick to your jaw or to your skull or knee to your skull doesn't put you down, but somebody can hold you on your shoulders for 3 seconds, I mean, how? Right? Like, you do all this spectacular stuff, flipping and flying, knees to the face, kick out after kick out, finisher kick out, and then you end it with a roll up. I mean, come on, man. To quote Joe Biden, come on, man. It's It's just frustrating. And number 3, it's also lazy, cowardly booking to do. It's lazy because they don't want to commit to anybody losing clean, and they don't want to commit to anybody winning clean. So you know what that does? It evens the playing field. That is the last playing field you want in a professional wrestling environment. Why would you want an even playing field? You want a roster stacked vertically. That's how you create stars, by elevating, not keeping everyone on a flat plane. It also is cowardly, again, because they don't have the balls to just give somebody a clean win. And this is happening across the board. It's not just heels doing this or babyfaces doing this. Like, this is anyone at any time can do this in any match. It's frustrating as hell. I agree. And that stupid DQ ending with Rhea and Charlotte that we've seen plenty of times before was purely okay before, or pure laziness. Yes, it is, G-Man. It's pure laziness and cowardice. I wouldn't say so much cowardice, though, in that one. It makes sense if they're going to extend that storyline that they would have done that. So I get that, but yeah. And then they very next segment on Raw last night, after they showed the DQ, they had Randy Orton slam his opponent into the table a few times and slam his head off the table and no DQ. Right? It's just bizarro world, to quote Jerry the King Lawler. Thanks, G-Man. Randy Delmonico, next patron up here, writes into us, and he says, first off, I had such a blast on Sunday talking with all the fans, and all of you guys seriously made my day. Well, I'm glad, Randy. It really did too for me. I've never done that before. Yes, there's Twitter, right? Of course, you can get instant feedback there, but it's not the same as a live chat room. I mean, it felt like 1998, right? And like an AOL chat room. It did in a way. I mean, obviously, Discord is a much different platform, but I don't do chat rooms anymore. I haven't really done them since AOL dial-up, right? When it was like cool to go into a chat room and people would spam it. And those that are the 80s or 90s babies like myself, if you don't know what ASL is, A/S/L, then you didn't grow up in my generation. So I'll leave you to, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'll let you Google it. But nonetheless, it felt fun, and absolutely. So you said many times podcasts say that they care, but honestly not as much as you guys do. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Now on to wrestling. I thought the pay-per-view was good. I was surprised Sammy won, but then again, I can see him getting into the Intercontinental feud again. Definitely entertaining. That being said, I really hope that Kevin, after his break, needs to go to NXT. He would definitely benefit. Also, the NXT stars would as well. Imagine the funds. Yes. That's perhaps what he meant by a break. How do we know he's coming back to the main roster? I hope he goes to NXT, and I don't mean that as a demotion. I mean that as a chance to just to relax and to be in an environment that or what brought him into wrestling, what he loves about wrestling, because the show's based around wrestling. With Samoa Joe there, and I've actually started to get into this a little bit too, with the little limited time I have, and watch the interaction he had with Karrion Kross. And apparently, we're going with the storyline that Samoa Joe, unless physically provoked, can't just attack stars. Makes sense. They're going with the old Stone Cold as GM or Stone Cold as Sheriff framework. That's fine. So absolutely, I think Kevin Owens would do well in NXT. I think it would do him well, his mind well, his character well, and also the stars in NXT that could benefit from his knowledge, benefit from his really just in-ring style, being able to work with other guys, elevate them. There's no question. This to me is a slam dunk decision that he should go to NXT. But compared to Vince McMahon's opinion, mine doesn't mean a hill of beans. So, okay, the next part of your question. So I just realized that Damian Priest has not been around. Amazing, right? If you're just realizing this now, kind of tells you where he's been positioned, right? When you don't even notice he's gone. Like I had to be reminded of that too. It's pretty scary, right? I'm hoping somehow he can get in the Money in the Bank picture. I agree. I could see him winning it, or dare I say Ricochet. You're the second person to say that. I'm sure you stopped breathing for a second. Well, no, I could see Ricochet winning it too, but I don't see Ricochet doing anything with it, like becoming a fluke champion. I don't want him becoming a fluke champion. I think there's a lot left, a lot of work left, that is, on Ricochet. There's a lot of work left to do. You know, Ricochet has been in the title picture. We all know what happened with his Brock Lesnar championship match. I mean, he barely got any, I don't know if he got any offense in at all, and Brock Lesnar just destroyed him. That was, to me, a massive message sent from management to fans. He's not anywhere close. And I have not seen any signs since, other than this past week with his victory. Fluke, well, I shouldn't say fluke, his one victory that he can build off of, but boy, they got a lot of work to do. So I'm not going to stop breathing. I could see him as a future champion, but he's not fully whole yet. I'll just say that. So what's your opinion on maybe Keith Lee? Yes, we all forgot about Mr. Lee because he's been, you know, he was the on again, off again star that WWE got behind. He was actually the one, if you remember, to beat Randy Orton first after all of the brilliant heat. I think was it Payback? I think it was at a stupid pay-per-view. It was like a 1 week build pay-per-view last year where Keith Lee beat Randy Orton, which it was just stupid. I mean, I still stand by that. After all the brilliant heat you built up of Randy Orton last year, you have Randy Orton lose to Keith Lee. And no disrespect to Keith, but come on. Randy Orton versus Keith Lee in terms of legacy, come on. It's not even close. Anyway, Keith Lee, I hope he comes back soon. He could be a hell of a challenger to the WWE Championship if built right. I wouldn't want him jumping into it immediately, but there's a lot of heel champions running around. And Keith Lee, you know, could be a nice addition to the Money in the Bank, and let him hold it and build his credibility over the next several months, and maybe have him challenge whoever is champion at the time. Yeah, Keith Lee's an absolute possibility. All right, now I think Becky versus Rhea is a great match with Rhea as a heel. Honestly, I'm kind of good on Charlotte and Flair right now, and hope they don't jump into it right away. What do you think? That's it for today, Randy. Well, I agree that Becky-Rhea is a more intriguing match than Becky-Charlotte, because Becky-Charlotte, as good as that program is, it still feels worn out, even though we haven't seen it in like 2 years. It feels like, anyway. It's kind of like seeing Randy Orton, John Cena. Because even if that match happened today, and Randy Orton was out there cutting a promo, and you hear John Cena's music hit, do we want to sit there and watch it? I mean, we've seen it so many times. There are certain feuds that even no matter how much time passes, you've just seen enough of it. Pun intended. Cena, enough of it. Okay. Well, yeah, I would say Becky-Rhea is a nice program for her to get back into, especially considering that Becky never lost her championship. Now, I know that having her jump right into a championship match upon her return, some fans may feel a little bit resentful of that, but I think the overwhelming majority would forget all the bad feelings they had towards Becky, towards her the end of her run the first time around before she gave birth. Which I think fans were turning on her because she was champion way too long, and she didn't drop the belt to Shayna at last year's WrestleMania, and just a lot of bad blood there that started to boil. And I think she would have naturally turned heel if WWE didn't do it already. But I think that's forgotten. Time has healed those wounds. They would embrace her. The women's division needs it after the regression of turning them back into sex objects for the last several months. And I think that Rhea would be a great opponent for her, and jumping back in, she could say she never lost it, and that's true. All right, well, let's get to an Instagram question. I normally don't do Instagram simply because I sometimes forget about it flat out. I just forget. But we have one from Niladri. I hope I said that right. So he writes in and says, "Hope you're doing great. Just watch Hell in a Cell. Mostly, I felt this was a heel-heavy pay-per-view. SmackDown main event between Roman and Rey was very enjoyable. In the main pay-per-view, I really enjoyed Bianca Bailey. I agree. Sammy KO match, although I wish KO won. What I didn't like is Shayna was booking in this kind of hocus pocus match really downgraded the image she carried from NXT. I really wish she gets into high profile, hard hitting matches soon, or else I think she's going to go nowhere. Yup. Shayna's got a lot of damage control to do, some repair to do. She needs to get the F away from Nia Jax. Just leave. Get the hell away from Alexa Bliss. Pretend this never happened and just have her start breaking people's arms next week. Just do it. I mean, just get her away. Out of everyone that they could put Alexa Bliss with right now, Shayna Baszler is the last person you want to put with Alexa Bliss, because they have just a contrast of characters. Because, you know, Shayna Baszler is built around no fear. She's built around just, you know, destruction, and yet you put her with somebody that she's supposed to be afraid of. It's just a bad combination of oil and water. So, okay, where I lost my place. Oh, next, Cesaro should have won this match because Seth can get into any storyline and any booking with the kind of storytelling capability he has, but Cesaro rarely gets this kind of push. After this loss, this rivalry, for me at least, will get stale, and Cesaro might not get any angle for a good storyline push. Maybe. Yeah, Cesaro's, I thought he would win, but they're clearly continuing this. And they might continue it all the way to SummerSlam. It's possible. They got good chemistry. And I agree Cesaro would be the favorite, but at the same time, Seth took a loss at WrestleMania. I mean, there's no bigger stage to take a loss. It's nice that Seth can get a victory once in a while. You know, he needs it. He can't just be the heel that, you know, runs his mouth and never gets a victory. You know, he also needs some repair too. So there's a case to be made on both sides, I think. Finally, in the main event between Drew and Bobby, I was enjoying the match until Bobby pinned Drew with the most devastating move in the whole WWE, the roll-up. I mean, even Sammy got a clean finish. Yep, I can't say any more about the roll-up, guys. I just can't. So, let's see here. In the main event of SmackDown Live, Roman, being a heel, got a clean finish. Then why on earth did Bobby get a roll-up when he's such a dominant guy? I don't get it. Brother, it beats me. It's starting to just waste my energy thinking about what they're thinking about roll-ups, other than just categorizing it as lazy and cowardly. That's what it is. There's no other explanation. Lastly, Ripley, please correct me if I'm wrong, is a face at this point. No, I don't think she is. And being so, it was necessary to get a hard-fought victory. Both women were capable of delivering a fantastic show. I mean, just look at the match between Bayley and Bianca. Or is it Vinny just protected Flair? Ripley could have easily laid a dominant foundation and could have shut Flair up from demanding anything in the upcoming time. This was bizarre. Please convey your thoughts. Thanks. Well, your answer about Rhea being a babyface? No, she's not. She can't be. If her excuse for getting herself intentionally disqualified, because Charlotte would have done it as well. I mean, if your explanation is, well, she would have done it, she was going to do it, or I just did it before you, I outsmarted you. No, you can't tell me that adopting another's actions in place of what you know is right is acceptable as a babyface. That's mimicking a heel, which means why should we like you if you're just telling it? You shouldn't outsmart a heel by doing what they would do, especially when you have your title on the line and your title's in peril, and you go for a cheap shot, a disqualification. That's a heel move. So no, she's not a heel, or a babyface rather. Okay, yeah, how about that for an Instagram question? You guys can do that too, by the way, at WWE_podcast. Now, let's see here. Let's move on here to emails. We have a few of those this evening, and a couple from Owen South, so I'll combine them. And he says, first, I hope all the listeners, and this is from actually last Thursday, okay, so kind of give you a perspective. I hope all you listeners at home are having a glorious day. Man, that reminded me how good Bobby Roode was when he first came to WWE. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I have a topic starter for you and all the listeners. I was thinking to myself, if I could build a superstar from scratch like in WWE 2K, what would I do? So I'm wondering if for future mailbags, people send in names, finishers, walkout music, and everything else that makes a wrestler. Just an idea. Would love for you, Matt, to join in as well. Anyway, I've been the half man, half amazing Owen the Steel Man South. It's been an honor. Goodbye for now. P.S. Shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only casual wrestling fan. Yes, he is becoming quickly a legend on this show. No question. And he's only casual. Imagine if he wasn't a casual. What if he changes to hardcore wrestling fan? I mean, right now he's only a casual fan and he's already legendary. What's going to happen if he, if he evolves into hardcore wrestling fan? So, well, I like that idea. I'm just trying to think about an actual execution, how that would work. Because that would require that everybody has, not everybody, but our listeners, most of our listeners have, a video game console and a WWE 2K video game. I like it. Certainly, I do like it. You know what? Anybody that wants to send into the show just what he asked for. You want to send in a name of a wrestler that you've thought about would be a cool name. So maybe some entrance music and anything else that you'd like me to add. Maybe we can come up with something, right? Maybe we can at least have a discussion about it. So, yeah, absolutely. That was Owen. That was your first email. And your second one is, hope your day's been good. So far, there's been so much wrestling this week, I hardly know where to start. So I just like WWE. I just like WWE does when they don't know what to do. We'll speak about just how effing good Roman Reigns is with the most devastating move in WWE, the roll-up. Wow. Roman Reigns, this man is too good. I really do hope the creative team doesn't F this one up because we have something truly special with Roman and the Usos. I have to say, I wasn't the biggest fan of how quickly Jimmy went from going against Roman to supporting him. Yeah, there was a little bit of a sharp turn. That wasn't the worst, but it was like, can't you just add a little more padding to this? I'm with you. But I get it adds to the feeling of Roman being so strong mentally and physically, he's untouchable. Then you look over to Raw and see their champion dancing around with the ladies and needing distractions to win matches. Anyway, I was listening to Hell in a Cell review, and I've seen as much footage as I can. I didn't watch the pay-per-view as it was early Monday morning here in England, and I totally agree with the general review on the pay-per-view. Overall, great matches, but terrible endings. And that's the hard part, right? When you have a really good match, and the wrestlers do all they can in the ring to make it exciting, to make it to make it dramatic, and they know what finish is coming up that they don't have control of, and it just goes womp womp. I agree. It's disheartening, but it also, I appreciate the wrestlers doing what they can with what's within their control. That's, the match itself, of course, other than the finish, which is unfortunately the most important part usually of a match, because that determines who wins and lose and how they win or lose. So I would like to say a big shout out to the wrestlers who sold really good during the brutal matches. They did their job. It's the creative team that are so stubborn in protecting baby faces that they keep the roll-ups they keep using the roll-ups over and over and over. Yes, the roll-up can be perfect, a perfect way to win a match. For example, I thought Eva Marie being rolled up on Raw was an effective ending as it protected a new wrestler and at the same time gave a plot to a fresh story. See, that's the problem. There are times where I'm like, okay, that makes sense that there's a roll-up there. But the problem is, we've seen the roll-up so much that even when it's used in the right context, you get sick of it, and you label it as lazy. And that's the danger of overusing it, is not only are you not getting anybody over, you're also angering fans and doing a disservice to the performers in the ring that you're trying to get over by never going solidly with somebody and always having it out that it was just a roll-up, it wasn't a clean victory. And you're also, again, you're taking the meaning out of a roll-up that does make sense, like the Eva Marie one, because it's an overused move to begin with. So even if it's used correctly, it gets crapped on. So, however, can they please use a clean finish for a heel win? Honestly, the day Roman wins with a roll-up as a heel in a big pay-per-view is the day that I stop watching wrestling. Yeah, if they ever do a Roman Reigns roll-up, oh boy, which, you know what, I don't want to say it's impossible. In fact, I would say it's likely. So, my friend, you may be close to ending your wrestling viewing, because I can see them doing that. They are in love with the roll-up. They want to make love to this roll-up. I mean, if a roll-up was a human being, Vince would marry that person tomorrow. He just would. So, okay, honestly, I just read that. Finally, why do they keep making Bobby seem so weak? Xavier Woods dominated Bobby for most of the match before the finish. I'm excited to see what happens next, but Bobby needs a lot of work before he faces Brock. Sorry for the long one. I could write on all day. Goodbye for now, Owen. Yeah, wrestling is a topic that is, just talking about it. I have 2-hour conversations. I feel like 15 minutes, on a weekly basis with co-hosts, and I agree. Yeah, wrestling is a topic that it puts you in a time capsule where you just lose track of time. As far as Bobby looking weak, I'm conflicted on this, because I appreciate them trying to build a new star. Now, we know what Xavier Woods is. Unless they have plans for him to go solo, I don't think this was a good move. It seems like they do have plans to kind of split the New Day quietly and have Kofi and Xavier go their own ways. And then in the next few months, that's the signs I'm seeing, with maybe Kofi eventually turning heel and joining Bobby Lashley, which I think would be a hell of a pairing. I would actually love that, to have Kofi finally turn to the dark side and stop all this goofy crap. But I know what you're saying. Xavier Woods, not ultimately, I think factually the weakest part of the New Day in terms of how the hierarchy goes in that group, where it was Big E at the top. I think Kofi was second and Xavier Woods was third. You have the third leg of the New Day beating down Bobby Lashley. I think it was a little much, but they wanted to establish Xavier even in a loss. So I get that. But yeah, I agree. If you're preparing him for Brock, you need to make him look unstoppable, and they need to do that in the next 3 weeks. They got to stop with this crap about the Lashley's ladies. He needs to stop being distracted and just dominate. So, Owen, thank you for your emails as always. All right, let's continue on with the emails here. We only have a couple more. Josh Sanders writes in, very quick, very, very short email. Hey, it's Josh from Kentucky. Wanted to ask you if Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods, I swear I didn't time this in any kind of way, if Kofi or Xavier should join Bobby and MVP with the Hurt Business. Also, who is your favorite Money in the Bank winner? Predictions, let me know. And thanks for the show. Love listening. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Josh. Well, I think yes. And I said that they'll split quietly. But what if they do, in fact, defect to the dark side and support Bobby Lashley? I could see that. And in fact, that would be intriguing to me.
Stay right there. The WWE podcast will return after this quick break.
Are you interested in becoming a firefighter? Do you want to know what it takes to be a fireman? Dream of running into burning buildings or giving life-saving medications to the sick and injured? Come listen in on the Becoming a Firefighter podcast. That's the Becoming a Firefighter podcast to join in the process of joining a fire department. They'll share their experience as they become a firefighter, go through the academy, as well as interview seasoned firefighters who will share their insights and stories on this amazing career field. You can listen on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and almost any other major podcast platform. Again, it's called Becoming a Firefighter. Go check it out today.
My name is Mike De Niro, and I am 1/3 of the New York City rap group, the Lords of Gotham. I am also the host of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast. The Wrestling DeLorean podcast is your one-stop shop for all the news and notes around the wrestling world. We talk about everything from WWE to AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, Ring of Honor, and beyond. But wait, there's more. We also go back in time and discuss all the events and moments that made us all fans. New episodes of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast drop Monday through Friday. Yes, 5 episodes a week, and you can find us wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. So what are you waiting for? Hop in the Wrestling DeLorean, strap in your seatbelt, become a passenger of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast, and enjoy the ride, because it is going to be one hell of a good time.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
I would love to see that. It would freshen up both guys, because we all know the New Day characters they've been dead for a long time now. Those characters have more than worn out their welcome. And you want to talk about reviving characters, reviving careers? Those two could benefit from that. Big time. Now, there are rumors of Big E returning to be on the same roster as Xavier and Kofi and reuniting the New Day. I think that is a terrible idea on every level imaginable, if that's the case. Every level. Because you are stifling Big E's career, for all the talk about him going solo and all the potential he has, you would immediately spit in the face of that. You would also bringing back a group that there's nothing left to do with. I don't care how many more times they win the tag team titles. I don't care about their entrance with Big E screaming on the mic or making their inside jokes or bringing out the latest food product to make a pun for whoever's in the ring cutting a promo. I'm done with it. There's nothing left to do. They made their money. They were very successful, but this group has been dead for years now. Years. So I guess Kofi and Xavier can take this toxic masculinity and deal with it. All right. So, all right. Well, as far as your question go, Money in the Bank winner predictions. Oh, you're going to put me on the spot like that, Josh? You're really going to put me on the spot like that? Oh, gosh. This is not easy, because there was a lot of upsets this past week. There was a lot of upsets, and let's see here. Let's look at who's in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So we have, let's see here, Ricochet. We have John Morrison. We have Riddle. Of course, there's more to be filled. It's hard to predict when we don't have all the competitors. You don't have the entire field filled. You're a little early on the pick, man. If it was just those three, like pretending that the other three don't matter, oh boy, probably Riddle, given the where he's been positioned, and it'd be fun to see Randy and him going at odds about, him cashing in, and Randy's annoyed that he has the briefcase and he lost his, there's, I think, more fun things to do with Riddle winning. So if those three were the only three, of course there's more, but, all right, let's see what else here. I think, that's it. That's all you had. So thank you, Josh. Let's keep rolling on here. And I believe we have one more email. This is from Joe Owen. He says, I'm not sure if this got in time. I just wanted to say that although this is normally something the fans seem to moan about, I'm really hoping that WWE is going to pull all part-timers back for when the fans return. I think seeing Roman tear through Cena, Brock, and Rock, you've got a high list here, a very high wish list, would really establish him as a great champ and heel. Well, I think he already is that. And then have McIntyre restart their feud from Survivor Series and take the title from him to solidify him as a great babyface. And then you have a second paragraph, but let me just speak to this. I don't know if having Cena, Brock, and Rock lose to Roman in succession would be good for Roman. Now, you'd also have to assume that Brock is a babyface. I think there'd be a hell of a conflict of interest there with Paul Heyman, and that'd be fun. Having The Rock lose makes sense. Having Cena lose makes sense. It all comes down to the problem, though, is he's holding the championship. The Rock isn't going to become Universal Champion. John Cena is, in all likelihood, not going to become Universal Champion. The only one that may is Brock, but Brock's going to be busy with Bobby Lashley unless he gets traded and then they start their program there. If this was a non-title opportunity, then yeah, I'd say they could trade a couple of wins back and forth, ultimately to have Roman go over. But I think you're right. McIntyre is likely, if The Rock and or Brock Lesnar is not in line for facing Roman at next year's WrestleMania, I could see McIntyre going full circle and coming back to Roman Reigns, as they're going to be on the same brand, I hope, when they do the reshuffle in a couple of months. They should be. They better be. It makes sense. You're right about Survivor Series. They should have never done that match to begin with, because I think it was a WrestleMania main event blown off for absolutely nothing. But having McIntyre and Roman on the same brand is going to be fun. And at that point, hopefully we're all like, oh man, it's been a while. Let's get Drew back in the title picture. And he's never been Universal Champion. So that could be fun. You're right. Also, I know you don't have time to watch AEW and NXT, but feel a lot of the faults you seem to get annoyed with WWE for things like not making sense and childish product don't seem to occur there, and you could have a really fun reviewing experience for even though you don't do a show yourself. Okay. No, I hear you. I believe you. And perhaps it would be a much more positive viewing experience for what I enjoy about wrestling. You're right. So thank you. And lastly, the Lashley girls don't offend me as much as they seem to other people. This is entertainment. I think we can surely get past this and see it for what it is. As long as they're not wrestlers themselves, they're probably getting a pretty good payday. Also, boxing and other sports have ring girls, etc. That's never been a problem for people. As I say, it's just an entertainment show. It is. Look, it is an entertainment show. I totally understand that. It is. But now they're starting to become a regular part of the product. And in the other sports that you're speaking about, the women aren't competitors on the show. Like, women don't do the boxing. They do have women in the, they hold up the signs for what round it is, right? And I understand that in other sports there are women, but they don't sexualize women on the same show that they compete on. That's my point. And I'm not offended on behalf of them. Okay, I'm not one of those people. A lot of people there running around today that are just offended on behalf of other people. Again, that's just kind of the way the life is right now. But that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm not actually hurt. I'm not actually upset about it. I'm not going to go start protesting about women's rights. No. But I also do respect what the women have accomplished. I recognize what they've accomplished. I recognize the progress that WWE has made. And when you have women on the same show being looked at as just objectified, and then also they're telling us at the same time, speaking out of the other side of their mouth, well, yeah, they're also great competitors. Well, which one is it? I mean, I don't know. So I totally hear what you're saying. It's just entertainment, and we shouldn't take it, more than what we see it as. But it just sends mixed messages to the viewers at home about how they view the women. I know they're not competitors, but there, I've made my point. So thank you, Joe. I'm glad it's not a big deal to you. Cool. And I'll also check out more of AEW and NXT, so I won't have so many rants about that. All right. Whew. I'm going to take a breather, because now it is time for you guys to pipe in and give me what you think. And we're going to start out with Jeff from the Philippines.
Hey Matt, this is Jeff from the Philippines. So first, my point on the Hell in a Cell match between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Oh boy, I was so disappointed at that finish. Lashley winning by a roll up. You see, what I feel every time when there are roll up finishes, doesn't matter which promotion is, but you see two guys beating the crap out of each other for 30 minutes, really doing this hard hitting moves on each other, and then the end is a roll up. I always feel like I wasted my time watching the match just because of having that finish. And also on Bailey versus Bianca Belair, it was a good match, but I think um, Bailey kind of looked weak in that match when um, most of her plans backfired on her. First, when she tied Bianca Belair's hair on the bottom rope, and Bianca used that as a advantage, was able to use that to take down Bailey, and also when Bailey used the candlestick to make a bridge between the cell and the ring, Bianca Belair was also able to use it. And also when Bailey tied Bianca Belair's hair on the steel chair, Bianca was also able to capitalize on that. And it was most part of that match was all Bianca. And on Raw, I kinda like Raw this week. It got that, you know, they lay out everything that's going to happen at the start of the show. We all know what will be the matches on that night and what will be the main event, instead of what happened in the past months where we're sitting and it's been over an hour and we still don't know what will be the main event. And also on Charlotte's player, um, Charlotte players, what do you call this? Because I didn't watch any build up to any episode of Raw to the build up to Hell in a Cell, I didn't know that her reason to get a one-on-one match to Rhea Ripley is because she wasn't pinned in the triple threat match at Backlash. Clearly, I don't like that reason because it it invalidates the purpose or the rules of the triple threat match, where it doesn't matter who gets pinned or submitted. All that matters is that who gets the first fall. And that makes the rules, that invalidates the rules of the triple threat match. And that's all, Matt. Stay safe. Bye.
Hey, Jeff. Well, you're exactly right. You made me think about things that I didn't think about before. And yes, I mean, the roll-up thing I'm not going to continue to destroy because it's I've pretty much laid out my thinking about it. But yeah, the point I want to make, or at least reiterate, that you brought up is it makes you feel like you wasted your time. I think that's exactly why you, as fans, part of the reason why, not all of it, but that you just wasted however long that match was. Now, again, that doesn't mean that a roll-up finish can't happen. It should happen. It's the frequency that they use them. And in now high-profile matches that they're using them. They're not using them on mid-card level matches or even in qualifier matches. They're using them also now to where nobody's safe. No match is safe from the roll-up. You're right. It makes you feel like you wasted your time. It makes you angry as a fan. It doesn't give anybody heat. It gives the company heat. That's where the heat goes from fans and the frustration goes, not on whoever got the roll up. It's terrible. So I agree. You also brought up how you enjoyed Raw a little bit more, I think, than I did. That said, you are correct that they had a show laid out, but that's only because the Money in the Bank ladder match dictates that they have 5 guys or 6, however many it is, that compete in that match. So it's almost like the story writes itself and you don't have to do too much thinking. Where, oh, boom, great, we got matches. Let's move on, right? Like, they have a structure to go on. What do they do with the rest of the pay-per-views? That's why all of a sudden I think people enjoyed this show more, is because, wow, there's more wrestling. Imagine that. But it's because the pay-per-view dictated that they have all those matches and fill the time. Whereas the rest of the pay-per-views, it's not structured as easily. So they were able to get that low-hanging fruit. Of course, next week they'll finish up the qualifiers and we move on. And your final point about the triple threats. Yep, now you're making me a little bit angry on that. Not at you, but at the logic behind it. That's a heel thing to say, but also I've seen babyfaces make that point as well. But you can't. There's nothing to stand on. Yeah, you weren't part of the decision, but guess what? You were part of the match. You lost the match just as much as that person who took the pinfall or submission did. So you really have no ground to stand on. That's not a thing, right? Even though they try to make us believe it is for storyline reasons, you're right. It does kind of invalidate the purpose of a triple threat. Like you voluntarily engaged in that triple threat, knowing that if you're not involved in the decision, you are just as much of a loser as that person who took the pinfall is. That's the nature of the game, my friend. That's a good point to bring up. So very good observation. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Got quite a few voicemails tonight. And by the way, we do have some duplicate voicemails, or at least a couple of voicemails from the same individual. We're going to combine them. So if you hear some voicemail back to back, I'm doing that on purpose. So we just kind of get that same person in one segment. So here we go.
Hey, it's Kyle from Butcher, Maryland. It is now 7:45, and it's a Friday. And it's Friday right now, and they're doing the match between Reigns and Mysterio tonight before the show happens. So I'm making this call. Now, why are you doing this match right now, 2 days before Hell in a Cell? They know they're doing having the Hell in a Cell on Sunday, but yet they decided to do the Cell match tonight. This is Sasha and Bailey all over again from last year. Difference is, of course, Sasha and Bailey just had a regular one-on-one match, which was stupid, but this is even worse. The fact that Reigns and Mysterio have a Hell in a Cell match for the championship and the pay-per-views in 2 days. They couldn't wait in 2 days. They could have done what they did last week with Reigns, with the beatdown between Mysterio and the face-off between Mysterio and Roman Reigns. They have to doing a match tonight, and it's in 2 days. So what are you going to do on Sunday then? That's like the $1 million question. I just think this was completely pathetic and stupid, and I think they could have just waited. That's my rant, and thanks for the call. Bye. Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore, Maryland. It's my second time calling. But I just got done rewatching Hell in a Cell, and overall that was a good show. I enjoyed Bianca and Bailey. I thought that was the best, women's cell match, or the best women's match this year. Also with Sasha and Bianca earlier this year as well. But I enjoyed the match. But back to talk about Alexa Bliss and what happened in that match with Shayna. And look, again, is all the magic trick stuff stupid? And a lot of people are crapping all over this whole magic stuff that Alexa's doing. And I get it's so stupid and unnecessary, but it's clearly not going to go away. So, look, I can't tell people what to do. They can say what they want. I just feel like that. I just think complaining about it it is what it is. I mean, that's how I view it. It's not going away. It looks like it's not going to. I don't know how it's going to be once fans come back. I don't know. Will people boo this? Who knows? I won't be surprised if people will cheer what Alexa's doing and they shocked everybody who keeps crapping over it. Who knows? I'm not sure. But they're clearly hyping up Alexa. She just won, which is great. And hopefully be in more matches after this and no more talking. But the magic trick stuff looks like that's not going away, which it should though. But she's really committed. She's really committed in this character. Heard an interview from her before in the past about this character that is different and all this stuff. But that's how I view about what Alexa's doing. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it going away? It's not. So, I mean, people keep complaining about it if they want to, but that's fine. People can do what they want. I just view that it's not going away. I'm just accepting it, and I'm just enjoying what she's doing. But that's just me. But that's it. Thanks for my call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. Well, certainly a very impassioned rant about what they did with the Mysterio-Roman Reigns match on SmackDown, and I understand your rant. I understand your frustration. You know, I've been frustrated with how they've dealt with the Hell in a Cell match for years now, making it its own pay-per-view, and you guys know my argument. And I think this took it a level further. This took it a level further by putting it on free TV, just so they could say it's a historic moment. Not understanding that most fans are going to go, huh? And yeah, the ratings may spike initially for out of interest. But I think a lot of fans are not stupid, and they realize that this is just really a desecration, a continued desecration of the Hell in a Cell match, the mystery of it. I mean, hell, we had a Hell in a Cell match on Monday, and the pay-per-view was already over because they had the Hell in a Cell probably laying around from the night before, and they didn't know what to do with the structure. Who knows? This is just, it is at the sacrifice of whatever value is left of that Hell in a Cell match. It's gone now. It's completely gone, and the mystique of it is gone. They have taken it and they have made it just really an embarrassment of what it used to be. It's a shell of itself, and painting it red is making it worse. Doesn't make it better. But yeah, I hear you. And as far as your point about Alexa Bliss, people crapping on what she's done, and that the fact we just have to accept it. Well, I mean, just because something's going on and it continues to go on, and WWE may make it last a while, doesn't mean that we can't just continue to crap on it. I mean, it doesn't mean we need to accept it, I should say. Just because something goes on that's bad, and we know that they're going to continue going on with it, doesn't mean we should go, well, that's okay, right? I mean, maybe that's not your point. I mean, if you are just accepting the fact that it's not going to go away for a while and you're trying to enjoy it, then that's cool. Like, I mean, I respect that, and I think that that's a sign of respect for the company, a sign of respect for the business, that you are taking something you know that is not great, and you know it's probably not going to go away, and you're like, you know what, let's just make the best we can with it. On the flip side of the coin, though, I also understand the argument of, well, if I don't like something, if they do it more, that's not going to make it better, nor is it going to make me accept it any faster than if they just cut it off now. I mean, so them continuing to go on with it actually may make it worse, because that would say that to me as a fan, hey, they're not listening to me, and they're always saying they're listening to me. And WWE is probably like, let's not be reactionary. Let's see what the fans in person think. So I get it. There's two arguments to that one, though. So, all right. Thank you, Kyle, for both of your voicemails. And let's keep things going, guys.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is none other than DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag show. First and foremost, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that have been listening to the WWE Podcast. Happy Father's Day. Now let's get to Hell in a Cell. This past Sunday, we just saw the conclusion of the last pay-per-view in front of nobody, in front of this quote-unquote Thunderdome that we all love to say, but now we are moving on to Money in the Bank. But I got some things I gotta say about what happened in Hell in a Cell. First and foremost, all the matches outside of Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler were good. Outside of those matches, good, solid matches. But to me, the storylines, they look the same. They look the same in terms of, we saw the storyline in the Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre match. at WrestleMania. We saw it again in Backlash. Now we're seeing it again at Hell in a Cell. We needed more, how should I say this, an interesting angle in the storyline instead of just the same storyline. You take out the storyline and you have an awesome match. But I want to talk about the crappy finish that we saw with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Great match, but how do you have Bobby Lashley doing a freaking roll-up on Drew McIntyre? Bobby Lashley is supposed to be built up as an unstoppable beast, as an unstoppable force, and you have him to give the roll-up on Drew McIntyre? Are you kidding me? Come on, WWE. But hopefully we won't see that again in the near future because the crowds are coming back for Money in the Bank. And I'll have some other stuff to mention, and I'll talk to you next time. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Another thing I want to mention that bothered me at Hell in a Cell was the crappy finish that we saw of Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. How would you have the match end in a disqualification? Come on, guys. This is not how you want to, quote unquote, end this storyline feud between two of the best women wrestlers on Monday Night Raw. But come on, this needs to be a lot different. And hopefully, I don't know what's going to be the next matchup between these two, whether on free TV or at Money in the Bank. But this was a crappy finish with Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. But wait a minute. I just realized something. Remember how we all try to figure out whether Rhea Ripley was a babyface or whether Rhea Ripley was a heel or a tweener? I finally got it. She is a heel. Ladies and gentlemen, Rhea Ripley is a heel. How the heck do you see that Rhea Ripley could be a babyface by having those type of mannerisms that look heelish, especially in this match that we saw this past Sunday at Hell in a Cell? And if booked correctly, we could see a returning Becky Lynch challenge Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But overall, the crowds are coming back. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. We are making our way out of the Thunderdome era and back into the crowds, the live crowds, the soul of professional wrestling. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, are ready because the big returns are coming, the live shows are coming, and it's going to be one hell of a great summer for the WWE. And I will talk to you all next time.
And there he is, Mr. DJ Kuzmo, never holding back. I love it. Just completely speaking his mind. And I can't match the guy's energy. I mean, he talk about the way I speak and my tone of voice and my cadence, and it's such a stark contrast, which is great. I mean, we need a break from my apparently falling asleep voice. A lot of you fall asleep to me, so I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. I'm your Bob Ross. I don't know. But DJ, yeah, the whole finishes, I mean, you could say, I believe half of the finishes, I think at least half of the finishes on Hell in a Cell were wonky finishes, if not a roll-up. I think there were 2 roll-ups we had, with the most egregious being Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins and Cesaro with a small package, no pun intended. And then you have the DQ finish of Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And yeah, it's, I mean, I really don't know how much more to bring to the table, or what more to bring to the table about the roll-up problems. Here's what I think will solve the problem. I've talked about the problem. I've talked why it's a problem. Here's why I believe, or how I believe, the problem gets solved. Very simple. Fans come back. Why? Fans will give WWE hell when they try to pull this crap. I think that the fans would boo those decisions out of the building. I think there would be a lot of bull chants, right? There would be a lot of that. Not just booing and then WWE going, "Oh, we got heat. That's what we wanted." But rather the BS chants. When you hear BS chants, those are directed at the company, at the creative decision that was made in front of them. So I think the BS chants will be a very, very important tool in the fans' toolbox when they get to a WWE event and they try to pull this crap. So, guys, don't be nice to WWE just to be excited that you're back and cheer and boo like good little fans. No, you're spending your hard-earned money, guys. Go tell them what you think. Go do what you do. Don't give WWE a pat on the back or an attaboy. You give them hell if it's deserved. If it's not, you cheer for who you want to cheer, but don't cheer out of pity and out of excitement just to be back. I think that's a bad decision all the way around for a lot of reasons. So I think we'll get some of that at the beginning, but I think it'll quickly fade. DJ, always a really fun time to hear you, and you got a double dip of the DJ tonight. So, all right, let's keep it going, guys. Only a few more.
Hey, Matt. Devin here from Australia. Just watched Raw, watched the highlights of it on YouTube last night. Just a few things that came to mind. They're probably all negative. I see Nikki Cross is wearing a cape and some mask over her eyes. She looks like she's jumped out of a cereal box, doesn't she? With her over enthusiastic, hyping herself up like she always does. She always seems too overly excitable and too pumped up. But I don't know, it's a bit strange. But anyway, I'm just not sure I'm a big fan of her new look. It looks too cartoonish, or I'm not sure what. I think I'll stick to my character jumping out of a cereal box high in sugar look. The other thing too is I noticed that for these Money in the Bank qualification matches, they're now teaming two people together as a tag team, and if they win, those two wrestlers go through to the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't understand why they're doing that. I don't understand why you're putting Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross together, who have a history together as well, which wasn't really addressed. They just did what they had to do and got through. I just don't understand why we're now having tag matches to settle qualification. To settle qualifications for basically a singles match, because there can only be one winner. So I don't quite get that correlation. And my other thing, Rant, is I don't like the fact that Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, AJ Styles all lost their matches, and then they get to have a triple threat next week. They get a second bite at the cherry, whereas you've got a lot of wrestlers who weren't even part of the qualification matches that could have been involved in the matches to qualify to take part in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I.e. Jinder Mahal. Oh goodness, I'm really struggling with names today. But I think you get what I'm saying, right? There's many wrestlers there on the card that could have taken part, but they don't get a shot because Randy, Drew, and AJ all get a second bite at the cherry. I think that's BS. Anyways, I'll leave it at that, and hope you have a good day. Cheers, bye.
Bevan, how you doing? Thank you for calling in. Good to hear from you every week. And it's funny you mentioned the cartoon cereal box jumping Nikki Cross. I think that's a great analogy when it comes to what she's done with her character, what Vince has done with her character, and she's too afraid to say, no, I don't want to do this, because she's afraid she's going to be the next name on that future endeavored list. So whether she's being voluntold this or whether she has come up with it herself, it is different. She's always been high energy, which it's not really my thing. Again, I've never been a fan of her super high energy babyface Nikki Cross. I was a fan of her when she was in NXT. Kind of the feared Nikki Cross. That's the one that I was gravitating to. But so now we're going to get on a weekly basis the Sunday morning or Saturday morning special of sitting around a fire singing Kumbaya, talking about how, I hope I inspire everyone at home, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. We get that garbage and stomach churning soft crap from WWE on a weekly basis, and Nikki Cross is going to probably continue to feed us down our throats that message. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I know some people are Oh, it's positive. Stop. This is not the the Magic School Bus show. Okay, this is not Blue's Clues. Can you tell I'm making child TV show references, considering that I watch half these during the day. But I will say that it's just a little too soft for me. It's a little too feel good. It's sickening, actually. But as far as the tag team matches go and why they're being used as qualifiers, it's very simple. Because they don't want those individuals having singles matches. They feel like it would take up too much time, that they just want to be able to do, kill two birds with one stone, be able to get, two people in the match without having two matches, which doesn't make sense on a 3-hour Raw. You think they'd be able to come up with all the matches and just stick them in. But that's the reason they are, even though the tag team style match shouldn't be a qualifier, because that's not the match you're trying to qualify for. You're trying to qualify actually for a match that it's everyone for themselves. So why you have to win in a tag team format to get into a match that's not a tag team match doesn't make sense. But it's simply to save time, and instead of having 5 or 6 qualifier matches, they just I agree. And as far as the second chance thing goes with AJ, Drew, and I forget the third name you mentioned, Randy, I didn't know about that. I must have missed it or whatever. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, they do that every year. I feel like they do the second chance to get into the match deal every year. I feel like it's not a new concept, but at the same time, just because it's not new doesn't mean that they shouldn't, take a look and go, who else could we put in this? So I think ultimately Randy's going to be the one to come out of that, so that Riddle and Randy have some interaction in the match, and that storyline continues, and where do they go, and does somebody turn on the other? So I think that Randy would be the one to take that victory when there's this. I really didn't even, and I looked on WWE's website, I didn't see it, but I'll take your word for it that next week is a second chance for the losers of the qualifier matches. But yeah, so I think Randy takes that, but at the same time, yeah, it's also an opportunity for them to showcase new stars, put them in that match instead of people that have already lost their opportunity getting a second chance. Why? What about somebody that didn't even get a first chance? So, yeah, I digress. All right, let's keep things going.
Hey, it's the Waz. Hey, man, just a couple things. I agree with you 100% on the fact that the women had to do tag teams to be able to get into the Money in the Bank, but the guys got one-on-one matches. It's jacked up. The fact that they didn't mention anything about Nikki Cross and Alexa having previous tag team championships or anything about their past, nothing. Kind of just stupid. Doesn't make sense. The fact that they threw Shayna and Nia back together, stupid. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things wrong. I 100% agree with you on the women's side of wrestling. I really do hope that Becky ends up showing up here soon to do something, to bring something back to the women's wrestling, because they need something to kickstart that in some way, shape, or form. So I agree with you a bunch of those things. I completely disagree with you on the Xavier Woods. As much as I respect your opinion, I don't agree with your idea of how he did the whole toxic masculinity thing. I think that was his way of tearing down the idea of him having these seemingly paid for women to hang out with him. And that whole idea that, just that whole concept. But mostly my biggest issue is, like, he can talk. Xavier can talk, and I think he has a better chance of being a single competitor than Kofi does, because he could talk better than Kofi, and I think he can wrestle just as good as Kofi. I like his look better than Kofi. I think it's somebody they can push, even though he's a little small. He can do it. He can throw down when it comes to talking, and he can throw down in the ring. And I enjoyed him jumping all over Lashley and MVP. So that's all I wanted to say. But hopefully some changes are coming here soon because things are not good with Raw, but better on SmackDown. Take it easy, guys.
Hey, Waz. So, yeah, I mean, as far as Xavier Woods goes, I mean, the thing is, you know, the toxic masculinity thing, right? Like, I mean, he has the women there that are presumably bought and paid for. But that's not what the context of the conversation was about. I mean, he was talking about Bobby Lashley and not about the women. He was referring to Bobby Lashley as a human being, about how he is the alpha male, and essentially that's toxic, right? I mean, he wasn't referring to the women. But regardless, your point about the whole Xavier Woods experiment, which is presumed, I'm okay with it. Like I'm not saying that they shouldn't give him an opportunity, and it certainly seems like, based on the Monday Night Raw performance with Xavier Woods getting a lot of offense in on Bobby Lashley, that they are probably headed in that direction of seeing what they have in Xavier as a single star. Even though Kofi's the one getting the pay-per-view match with Bobby, I think this was an experiment with Xavier. And yes, he can talk on the mic. He absolutely can talk on the mic, and I don't think we see enough of that. It's hidden and masked behind all of the goofy crap that he's doing on a weekly basis. And MVP and Bobby calling that out was exactly what they should have done. To me, that's a babyface move, to call out what is exactly right, that they are just goofballs that come out here, don't take anything serious, which is why they will never be at the top tier of WWE, and Bobby is. And that's exactly right. That's not a heel thing to say. It's the truth. And, again, I have no problem with Xavier at all. It's just, the thing is, when you bring in political statements or political phrases, even though they're not meant to be political, they are political outside of WWE, and then they bring them in as a way to incorporate it into their promo, and they think it's kind of clever or something. I don't think that's a good idea to do. I don't think that's good. I would love to have, maybe Xavier say, hey, what exactly, or somebody ask him, what do you mean by toxic masculinity? Like, what exactly is that? What is that? Right? Like, so it was just one. I know nobody's picking this apart but me, but anyway, I think I listen to too much politics. I do. Maybe that's the problem, but it's everywhere. Right? So anyway, Kofi Kingston is a guy that I have no interest in seeing him as champion again. None, zero, less than zero. But Xavier, look, I'm all for it. I think it'd be a fun little experiment that maybe you catch lightning in a bottle with. But the first thing you have to do, the very first thing you have to do with Xavier, is strip him of this New Day facade, which is all about joking, inside jokes, hee ha ha, break the fourth wall, let's have fun and games and bring out food products to throw at the guys in the ring. You got to get rid of that. I cannot take anyone serious. That's why I couldn't take Kofi serious as a champion, and I think it did damage to the championship itself with him carrying it and having pancakes. He used it as a pancake holder. Like, I mean, it was embarrassing. It was flat out embarrassing. And I think it was just a disservice to the championship itself. So you have to strip that. It's okay. Get rid of the New Day. Or there doesn't have to be a formal breakup. You just have them naturally move on. You don't need to have them feud together. Maybe they even join Bobby. I mean, there's a lot you can do. I think they have more there than just being, mid-30s, late 30s, jokesters. Like, there's more there. We've seen it. So, all right. Well, it's always fun when somebody disagrees. I got to say, like, when I had a feeling it was being set up for that, because he was saying, I totally agree. And I'm like, all right, something's coming. And he's like, I totally disagree. I think that's great. So people that are listening to the show, anybody listening to the show, please, I want you to call in. That's what makes wrestling fun, guys. We're talking about something that doesn't even really matter, right? It's pro wrestling. It's not real life. So, okay, let's continue on. And I believe this is the final voicemail, 2 voicemails, but I'm combining it into one. So I have a feeling who this is, and I think you guys will be excited for who this is. So let's listen to who the finale of the show could be.
Hey man, it's the casual wrestling fan here. I'm pretty sure everybody gonna be talking about Hell in a Cell, so I guess I'm gonna do the same. You know, I'm gonna start off with the Bobby Drew match. It was a great match, hard hitting. You know, maybe I'm on the minority of this, but I like MVP interference. I like managers to actually do more than stand on the side and watch you lose the belt. So, you know, I liked him getting involved. I don't think it looked too weak, you know, personally. I mean, Roman did it with Jay for the months. But anyway, I like the match. I hate the roll up. You know, I'm gonna be honest about this. When MVP grabbed Drew's leg, they should have let Bobby come behind Drew and put him in the hurt lock. You know, you get the babyface got double teamed and he got hurt locked and passed out. You know, I think the roll up was a bad way to go. You know, especially in a Hell in a Cell championship match. You know, all the cards on the table. Drew's last match, and it ends in a roll up. That sucks. Number 2, I want to go over the Charlotte real match. It was a good match. You know, obviously that was a weak DQ. And if you ask me, when Rhea gave her the riptide, gave Charlotte the riptide, the ref should count to 3. Charlotte could have put her foot on the rope, you know, still let the ref count to 3. So Rhea gets the win. Charlotte can say, I didn't lose. The ref messed me up again. You know, we can do this all over again. So I think they messed those 2 up on this. You know, roll-ups in big matches and that weak disqualification, that was horrible. I mean, if we look back when J-Mo, John Morrison, Johnny Drip Drip, the Morrison superstar in WWE, he was going against Randy. The Miz sprayed Randy with the drip stick and didn't get disqualified. So, you know, it was horrible. But all right, that's all I got right now. Y'all have a great week. Thanks. It's the Casual Wrestling Fan Part 2. Hey, I just wanted to go real quickly. I remember last week, Randy the Patron asked me, which that's your new nickname, Randy the Patron. He asked me, and you both, who will we rehire? And it's simple for me. Braun, Aleister Black, Samoa Joe. I know they brought back Samoa Joe, but he did get fired. So, you know, I'd bring those 3 back. Braun Strowman was a big force in WWE, and I think they'll miss him, but I'm not going to rehash old things. Number 2, I want to give a shout out to Kyle from New York. This guy is our resident rumor mill guy, and I don't know what his sources is, who his sources is, but he's accurate. Hey, I think he secretly works for WWE. So shout out to Kyle from New York. Great intel. You know, I wish we could let him do the Kyle report so we can know about all the rumors going on, because they're very accurate. And also, I just want to say, honestly, I did like Raw. I like the direction they're going in. I do like that it was a lot of wrestling, you know, leave the storylines on the back burner, focus on having Money in the Bank, just focus on getting the fans back. You know, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Talk to you guys next week.
I told you guys. I told you you'd be excited about who this was. So certainly, it's a rare occasion when Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan agrees with the majority. It's rare, guys. So what I mean by that is, you know, the complaints about the roll-ups and the DQ finish with Rhea and Charlotte. This is a rare thing. So, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, are you feeling all right? Usually, you go against the grain. So I hope you're feeling good. I hope all is well. Hope the missus is well, because it's not like you. You know, usually you do have some contrarian opinions. So, but in all seriousness, maybe Kyle can give us the Kyle report, right? I mean, I can do some intro music for him, and then just play his voicemail every week, like do like the generic news jingle, and then put him on, and maybe that's something. He has been pretty accurate. I've never even really thought about that, but he does have some accuracy there that is scary with some things. And Kyle, shout out from Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. Maybe you'll get your own segment here. And Randy the Patron, I'm glad you responded to him. He is a big fan of yours, as is many others. So it's good to hear from you, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, and I'm glad that you are excited about where WWE's going. I am too. A lot of people were much higher on Raw this week than I was. I just thought it was great. It was heavy on wrestling, which is always a positive. I thought it was good, nicely structured because of the upcoming pay-per-view with qualifying matches. I just, with some of the things with Nikki Cross and the head-scratching rematch between Rhea and Charlotte not being announced as no DQ, because that was the problem to begin with. So what are we doing? Like, why did Adam Pearce put him in the same match that caused the DQ? I mean, maybe more is coming, but there were some head-scratching moments that I had issues with, and maybe I was just in a bad mood as well, but I don't know. So I'm glad everyone else enjoyed Raw. It's fine. You're going to have shows that you love and I hate, and you hate and I love. That's the way it goes. So, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, thank you. Please call back. You do have a fan base here that's growing. I mean, you may take over the show soon. I wonder if that's like your secret plot, right? Are you just trying to grow a fan base behind my back, and then all of a sudden this show just gets overrun by support for you, and then they oust me, and suddenly you take over the show, and all of my life's work is gone to you? I wonder if that's your secret plot. There's something going on that I'm not aware of. So you're just going to overthrow me, guys? Is that what this is about? You're tired of me? You're tired of my rants and my negativity? Something, I'm sure. Anyway, guys, as Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan said, I hope everyone's having a good week. I will be back. Nostalgia is coming. I'm not going to be recording it after the show. I'll be recording it early tomorrow morning, which is Thursday morning. I will get it out to you. Those of you on Patreon and Apple subscribers will get that tomorrow morning, as well as an exclusive show from Mimi that she is doing only for subscribers and patrons. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. As always, I'll talk to you next time.
My name is Mike De Niro, and I am 1/3 of the New York City rap group, the Lords of Gotham. I am also the host of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast. The Wrestling DeLorean podcast is your one-stop shop for all the news and notes around the wrestling world. We talk about everything from WWE to AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, Ring of Honor, and beyond. But wait, there's more. We also go back in time and discuss all the events and moments that made us all fans. New episodes of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast drop Monday through Friday. Yes, 5 episodes a week, and you can find us wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. So what are you waiting for? Hop in the Wrestling DeLorean, strap in your seatbelt, become a passenger of the Wrestling DeLorean podcast, and enjoy the ride, because it is going to be one hell of a good time.